Hi, everyone. I'm Jack Johnson.
I'm Jill Johnson.
We're back at you with another episode of We Bought a Franchise, and we are guest-free for this episode.
It's amazing. Just you and I.
Well, again, I think the guests are awesome, and there's a lot of great content, but there's a lot of questions people have. Not a day goes by where a prospective franchise owner doesn't hit us up and say, hey, we love it when you talk about running the business. So, Jill, without further ado, this is unscripted, by the way. We're just kind of jumping on and sharing our experiences. So what comes to your mind first from these last few weeks?
I feel like a lot has happened this few weeks with Pinks and everything. I mean, a lot of good stuff, we're here to share like the bad nuggets. So
always.
That's what we're going to do.
I mean, it's kind of why we did this, right? As franchise consultants, we help people become franchise owners every day. And it's kind of nice to ride shotgun alongside all of you guys out there who are franchise owners and thinking about becoming franchise owners.
Yeah, I think I ran into another fellow franchise owner just a couple weeks ago at an event. And we were, just talking about all the fun things that were going on and the troubles that we were having. They were so similar. And she's a few months ahead of us. So it was, interesting to see like where she was at her point in, opening the business and where we were. And it's totally wildly different businesses, but we have the same pain points and, same successes. So it was really fun to do that. And we're in the same market. So I think that that's another thing too, is like we have different concepts, but we're dealing with the same market, the same seasonality, the same type of people. So it was really interesting. I'd like to do that with you guys too. Like I found that conversation very helpful and we want to make it helpful for you guys too.
First year franchise ownership is not for the faint of heart. You guys can't see this, but I can. If I look at our last month, well, first of all, we're in the midst of a record month. And of course I can't pull up my spreadsheet here. So October is a record month for us, and September was not very good. September was not a record month. And I think that's just it. I mean, any of you that are kind of, longtime listeners, followers of our shows, like Jill said, it's not a straight path. And most people seem to agree that the first 18 months, they really have the most sort of peaks and valleys because it's no surprise, right? You're building your brand, you're building up a base of clients. Like, I'll tell you one thing, and I've been in business ownership, mentoring and coaching for a long time, as has Jill. I didn't think enough about accounts receivable on like business accounts and how we staff a job and we have a huge week, right? Like last week was really, really busy, but we also paid out we weren't going to get the cash from those jobs for like 30 days. Although I did hear somebody did pay early.
That's great.
We've got a big check coming.
Right.
But like last week, we had to play the game of fronting all the payroll. And
it's different when you're fronting payroll, right? So this is like a new concept. It's like it's coming out of our banks. There's not like some big corporate bank account that it comes out of. So we really pay attention to the hours that our team is working versus like what we're paying versus the jobs. It just kind of opens your eyes a little bit more. And we both have worked for big corporate businesses, right? And you don't think about those things. You're like, oh, I gotta order more business cards. I have to order this. I have to order that. And you just do it when you really
you just order from Carolyn.
That's what I'm saying. You're not thinking about who's paying for those business cards. Whereas like for us, it's, every order, every business card, every box of hats that we order, every, staff member that we have to pay for either extra time or something. It's coming out of our bank accounts. So you really watch it. It's not a bad thing. It's just that you look at it very differently than you do if you're just like working for a big company. Yeah,
it's definitely, it's a game of really building and staying with it. And there are moments where you probably want to cry. And there's moments where you want to just shout from the mountaintops, I'm freaking awesome. We are, so the good.
Shouted from a mountaintop.
I have shouted from the mountaintop.
When have we? I've never.
Theoretically, metaphorically, I have.
Well, I'm just saying, like, actually, have you shouted from a mountaintop?
I don't think I've been on a mountaintop. I don't think I've ever been on a. Well, I guess I have. Like, I don't know, like Tahoe, you drive through mountains and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on a mountain, but I've never shouted.
No, but I believe we set the Pinks record for franchise ownership revenue in a month.
We did.
Not not doing more than what the original, the OG, pilot location.
Well, they're on like a level.
Yeah, they're the corporate location, but for franchises, we set a record, which is awesome. And what's really interesting is here we are in Palm Beach County. The other franchise owner who previously owned the record, he's in a much smaller market. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
That, you'd think we'd be like competing with Dallas or something like that, which I'm sure we will. But really cool. I mean, those victories can really fuel your fire as a business owner. And we would never be able to set those records if we didn't have a great team. And so we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
As always, you guys, just to reiterate, always be hiring. Please, if you're going to become a business owner, never shut the Indeed off. Never, never, never. Even if you want to save that $500 that we don't do it.
Honestly, you never know. You guys could have the absolute best person and they have a family emergency, or something happens and they decide not to work, or they get injured, or they get sick or something. And if they could be the best person in the world, but you always have to have backups. You always have to be bringing in new people. Mm-hmm. And we're fortunate, honestly, that we could have a team of people just kind of waiting and put them on the schedule as needed. I know not a lot of places can do that. So we're lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of have like that.
Well, and it's cool that people want to actually work for our company. We've got an exciting brand that people kind of aspire to. But, it's like, again, the questions I get are, hey, Jack, you guys have the CEO model. Is it like super easy and absentee? I would say, again, like I think I've said on almost every episode we've done this, I probably spend about an hour or two per day working on Pinks. It's not like, okay, here's 2 hours beautifully knocked off in my schedule. It's like, it's 10 minutes here. It's 20 minutes here. It's a client that's upset and I'm, messaging with them to try and smooth things over. So it's being involved. I really think as a franchise owner, the more time that you can dedicate as the business owner, even if you have a team and you're running the business kind of like we are, you still make a big impact. The other thing I would say is just like the hiring, never shut off the ads, always be advertising.
I know, it's like you want to, especially if they're not performing, or if you think you have enough in, but never do that.
You got to advertise. Lifeblood of your business. I think most of the appointments on our calendar right now, which are done for us by our franchisor, it all comes from the Facebook and the Google ads that they're doing. And it's interesting. I saw that the CEO of Resi Brands, Steve Montgomery, who's been on our podcast previously, he was talking, and I think we talked to him about this too, about how ChatGPT is really changing search.
Yeah.
And so again, it's like we're in this new place. Now for Pinks right now, we're still seeing a good amount of people come from Google, from Facebook, but I think it's a very friendly sort of format for those things.
Well, it's a good hyper-local target. Service businesses, they're almost easier to target because if you're actively looking in that area, you can be like really specific with your ads and where you're targeting. So it's helpful for us. And also, I know we've talked about this a million times, but like our Facebook ads are so it's like, people are watching them, not even realizing they have windows. And then they watch and like, you know what? Maybe I could clean my windows, or mental note when I'm ready to do something like this. I'm going to call these guys really money. So that's the other thing, is that the advertising that we're doing for Pinks is like, it's entertaining. So it holds more value. I think it's got like more of a last.
Well, as good as we're doing, I heard a client that owns a different franchise. He's only a few months in and he beat whatever we just did this month.
It's a different type of
business.
And like you said, you're going to have great months and you're going to have really hard months. So sometimes it can all be dependent on one big job for us. If we have like a hotel or like, some kind of big corporate job, or even just like get into a neighborhood for the week. And then the next week can be quiet. And that can be because holidays or just weather or whatever. So really, I keep saying, it's just that roller coaster, that up and down. So the good thing is that I love about this is like, you never know what's around the corner, right? You never know who your next client is going to be. You never know that property manager that you might meet that has 50 properties that can change your business.
Yeah. What's cool is that other business is another home services business.
Yeah.
I mean, home services is really, it's the place to be. And that's what we're seeing as franchise consultants, people heavy on home services, senior care, in-home senior care, huge on that. So I think it makes sense in this sort of, we're a week away, less than a week away from the election at this point.
Yeah.
That's the kinds of things people are investing in. So it's again, I think if you can have patience, and I remember my dad always saying to me, when you start a new business, you've got to survive year one. Those were his words, is you got to survive. You got to find a way to survive. So for those of you out there, we don't want to discourage you. We would do this every day all over again, because the nice thing is being able to know that we're growing this thing, and it is growing, and we're seeing it, and it's happening, and it can be a business that, unlike our franchise consulting business where we have to do all the work, this is a business that can run without us. So that feels great. And it's great to see that we've got the second van out there, which we're seeing that now we're doing more jobs.
Yeah. Well, we can do double the jobs because we can have guys working at the same time. So even if it's just a matter of 1:30 being like the optimal time, you can now have two separate jobs going on at the same time. And that's helpful for the guys. We can split them up and they're not running back and forth to different jobs. So we can overlap too. But it's exciting to see. It really is. I mean, I love seeing the business pick up. I love that we are trying to offer some new things. Like we're really focusing on pressure washing now that we have a pressure washing truck, and there's a couple things we're going to try out. So it's fun.
It still trips me out to see two jobs on the calendar at the same time. Right. It's like, I better talk to Sal. Sal's our GM. But then it's like, no, we can do it now. We've color coded the vans. The power washing van is pink. The regular van is blue.
Ultimately we want like 5-10 vans. So can you imagine what that looks like?
How about 15 vans? And then also the other considerations for our business are there are competitors of ours that are doing drones. They do pressure washing drones. And so do you buy a third van, or do you go out and get a pressure washing drone?
I trust the robot.
Well, someone would be flying the drone. I mean, Trey can fly a drone.
Well,
Trey's our son, by the way. He has like a DJI,
Can he fly it?
Yeah.
I guess you're the one that always loses.
I only lost one.
No, you've lost three.
Oh, those cheap ones. No. But the real ones, like the legit with the sensors and the GPS, I've actually never lost one. I just crashed it landing. I was trying to fly it in and out of a hotel room. And for years that I've had drones, one crash. But yeah, our son can take off, land, fly it all over the place. They're easy. And so again, this is sort of the fun of what's next for us with our Pinks business. These are the types of conversations we can have.
But the drones would be great for like the overnight jobs.
The drones.
I guess we still have to control it, but you control it from like your pajamas somewhere.
You're thinking of like the Elon Musk robots.
I can't wait.
A team of robots out there.
I'm ready for
yikes.
I'm ready for one of them to like make my coffee.
Again, that sure would make hiring a breeze. Just 30,000, go get I'm sure you can finance the robot. It's 30 grand, same as like a car. I'm sure it's a section
and
1.
Then eventually they're going to kill us. And
wait a second, how heavy is the robot? I think you have to have a certain weight requirement to write off section 1. Yeah. But the freaky thing is then what happens to the team?
Look like one of the guys when, we hire someone and they put on the uniform, they just all look like cohesive and clean. And, it's great for branding, but we could just put the outfit on the robot.
Cleans them up. Cleans up the guys. They look good.
I think it's
a good looking uniform.
I think we're on to something.
One of the best looking uniforms. So, again, I think that for all of you out there, it is a great thing to have a business. And we'd love to help you. If you have any questions, you can always text us at 305-710-50. And, we spend a lot of time talking about the hard because we want you to be prepared. If this is something you're going to do, just be prepared that it's not always going to be perfect and predictable. The more of a mindset that you can come into this thing, understanding what it's going to be, the better you're going to be as an entrepreneur. And you should want to be a great entrepreneur. So I would say this. I would say if you want to do a franchise like Pinks, the franchise fee is 60 grand. I think working capital wise, probably want to have at least $100,000, I would say. And don't be surprised if it takes you more. And if you can get it done for less, awesome. Good for you. But I think there's a saying I've said before, I've never heard of someone going out of business for having too much capital. So for those of you that are just trying to skate in by the skin of your teeth on this thing, don't do it. There's less expensive businesses you can look at. You can start smaller and let the first business feed your second. And that's how Jill and I did it. Our first business was a franchise consulting business. We sold our house to start that business. We went the first 5 months of that business with no money coming in. They were good times. You know why? Because we finally were our own boss.
No, it was a great feeling. We were excited, and we were prepared for that. Just like Jack said, if you are prepared that your first year is going to be hard, your first 18 months, and that you will not, we always like say, you probably will not make money. If you go in with that expectation, you might be pleasantly surprised, or you just know what it is, right? And so I think it's our job as franchise consultants, and even with this podcast talking to you guys, is that it's not easy, and you can, have the most experience in the world. I'm not saying because we're franchise consultants, we know what we're doing. We're learning just like a brand new franchise owner. And it's not super easy. So, I think just setting those expectations is the most important thing. So you go in with a realistic overview and celebrate your wins, but also your frustrations are valid. That it's going to happen. And I think your mindset is totally different when you shift it.
Don't ever be surprised if someone quits on you at the very last second and they don't give you notice. That happens. But it's okay. You'll survive. Most of this is, if you stay with it, you will figure out a way. Try and find a way to stay positive, because it's easy to let business ownership overwhelm you. But if you stay positive and you stay with your goal and you lean in on your team members, on your franchise support, you'll get there. So yeah, that's part of the reason why we bring you guys this podcast, is for those of you that are business owners, that are considering being business owners. We're all in this thing together. And I think that the dream of entrepreneurship, as I look at a sign on my wall from my grandfather's general store from 1920, there's such a sense of pride in building a business and creating jobs and charting your future and controlling your destiny. Not to be like a walking cliche for business ownership, but that's the stuff. And it feels really good. I mean, it's like for us, the high, hey, we just set a record for monthly revenue for a Pink's franchise owner. That's awesome.
Yeah, but to bring me back to reality, we set the record. We're so excited. We're celebrating. And then, pressure washer dies on us. So, you celebrate while you can, and then you move on and you fix what you need to fix. And that's just the reality. So just be excited when you hit those wins, and, also be prepared that the second you celebrate a win, something bad is going to happen.
Or like last year, we set a record for a franchise consulting business.
Yeah.
We set a huge record.
Yeah.
Never been done before. Some other fella came along and just broke our record faster than we did it. So you never rest on your laurels, because there will always be, you have to stay sharp, and you've got to stay motivated, and you've got to keep focused on your goal of growth. And I think if you can do that, and like Jill said, don't let a little surprise here or there knock you down. So for any of you that would like to get on our metaphorical business ownership couch and just kind of talk to us about this stuff, that's what we're here for. Our service at Franchise Insiders is free. You can text us at 305-710-0050. You can go to franchiseinsiders.com and just schedule a meeting with us. We have a calendar app if you just want to pick a time. And if you're considering Pink's, great. If you're considering other franchises, great. If you're an existing business owner and you just want to talk, we're here for that too.
Yeah, of course.
What else do you got?
No, I really love talking to you guys. So, if you just have a thought in your head, what can you do? What should you do? What's hot? What should you be looking at? I mean, that's what we're here for. So don't hesitate, because we love it. I mean, that's what we do. That's besides Pink, that's Pinks. That's what we, that's what we do day in, day out. So, call us, text us, whatever works for you. We want to talk.
By the way, no one's called it Pinkies in a while. People seem to be getting it right. They know it's Pinks. But I was on
then the ads and the branding are working.
I was on the franchise owner call today, and there was like 50 new people I've never seen. It's growing. And by the way, as franchise consultants, to see our clients who have become Pink's franchise owners, by the way, don't invest in Pink's because we did. Just because who knows if we know what the hell we're doing, right?
Sometimes I think we do know what we're doing, to be honest,
but like I have seen them have success, and it's so cool. as a franchise consultant, you rarely get to be on the other side and see what they're doing. So, I mean, there's been so many rewarding pieces of the journey here, and that's really cool. We really enjoy it. So, Jill, for this week, that's all I've got. Ups and downs, metaphorical, business coaching couch, new power washing van, kicking ass, setting records, losing guys, adding guys. Maybe we have to add some robots. Are robots going to have a Section 179 tax deduction? Elon, we got to know this, dude. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. But as always, if there's anything you guys want us to talk about or have any questions, let us know.
Hit us up, 305-710-0050. And for this episode of We Bought a Franchise, I'm Jack.
And I'm Jill.
We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining. And thanks for stopping by. But mainly stay classy.